Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Today we are going to talk about the components of a bobcat mount's head and what goes into that. This is going to be a highly opinionated video, but I think some people may value my opinion because I love mounting bobcats. I have done a few of them, and I've learned what gives me the look I'm looking for and what doesn't. And you may be looking for something different, so view this video with an open mind and accept my thoughts as to what I feel works best on a bobcat mount. The two most important components going into the head is the head itself, what mannequin you use under the skin, and also the glass eyes that are used. These two things, if you find the right combination, are going to make or break that mount, make the difference in a lifelike mount that makes you say, wow, and something that looks more like something you'd see in an old lodge or a bar. First, we're going to take a look at the different heads. Now, I've got 4 different mannequin heads to show you, and this is by far not the only thing that's available on the market. There's a lot of different supply companies, a lot of different sculptors. Every one of them are a little bit different. Every one of them produces a slightly different looking mount. Every one of them is sculpted by a human and has room for human errors. So it is up to us to use that as merely the canvas upon which to build. Your clay work is going to be very important. You're going to want to modify some things on these heads. So find the head that most closely matches what you're looking for, and you've got a great combination there. I'm going to show you 3 heads that are available on forms through McKinsey, and then 1 that was sculpted by me myself. Now, obviously, I'm a little bit biased towards my own mannequin heads that I sculpted, but I'm not trying to sell you anything. I am just showing you the differences between all of them and what I feel we should ultimately be replicating, which is the skull. We removed the skull from the animal. Yes, there are some other components there, like the membranes around the eyes and the ears. The skull doesn't show us everything we need to put back in, but it's a good base to start with, right? So I tried to look at the skull, the shape of it, and find a head that most closely duplicated that. I've got a freshly skinned bobcat skull here. I wish I had a little bit bigger one because this is from a small cat, and it's smaller than mannequin heads that I'm going to be showing you today, but you get the idea. So when looking at a bobcat skull, I notice how round it is. Very round through here, very rounded through the sides. It just has an overall plump, round shape. And when I replace it with a head that looks like that, this is how I get my hair patterns to stand up nice and plump. Nothing sunken in. On this skull, you really don't see any greatly sunken in areas. So let's take a couple of these heads and compare them. This is my own sculpt right here. It comes in 3 sizes. This is an 1 5/8". This is great for a average to small size cat. This will fit your good average 20-pound cat. I have an 1 3/4", which I use that one a lot. That's for the bigger boys. Good large average cat. And then there's a 2-inch head, which is going to be for your very biggest cats, your northern 35-pound plus cats. But what I was going for here was a rounded look, very round on the sides. I'll compare it beside this skull. I was just going for that shape. Whoops. Now, there's some extra things sculpted into here. I'm accommodating for the whisker area and making things a little more plump in the skull, but I think it's a pretty close match. These heads, there's always improvement to be made. Since I sculpted them, there's a few very minor things that I think I could fix. When I mount with them, I just fix that in clay. But I am going to be resculpting them soon and offering them for sale through myself personally. Right now, these heads are available through Noonkester Supply, although they don't show up in any catalogs. It's kind of been a little bit of a problem in that nobody has any item numbers. Nobody knows how to order these heads. They more or less seem to not exist if you're trying to order them. If you want to order some, I can help you with the item numbers and how to place that order. But like I said, I'm planning on reclaying this, redoing the molds, and then I'll be able to sell them directly through my own personal company. So stay tuned for that. So if I was to select my second favorite head, this is a classic Mackenzie head. This is not the head on the Hendrix forms. This is a head on the more older style Roger Martin forms. I believe this head was sculpted by Roger Martin. And I've always loved this head because it too is very round, just like the skull. It's got a really nice round plump shape to it, not sunk in on the sides and not sunk in on the top of the head. This is also a head from some Mackenzie forms. These are the Terry Van Loenen forms. It's okay. I feel that it needs some extra clay in here and a reduction around the muzzle so that you can add your clay to set your whiskers in. If you add clay on top of this, I think you're going to have way too puffy of a muzzle area. You can kind of see like very, very subtle, but that makes all the difference in a mount. And then these are the original Hendrix forms. These come on the Hendrix series. And if I was to use this head, I would just be putting a lot of clay on it to round things out. There's a real defined dip in the head there that I don't see on a skull. I see very round. So I'd be adding some clay there. Clay in the side here. This is very, very defined. You see a little bit of wrinkling on the nose when the cat is aggressive, but I would probably fill that with clay. And there's a lot going on here, which is in part, they've kind of went ahead and added some sculpt here to take up some of your clay work, but I like to have just a basic opening that I can work with my clay from there. So a bit over sculpted, maybe cut some of this off and do your own clay work from there. For your viewing pleasure, I have something kind of cool right here. These are freeze-dried heads that I had done of bobcats. So what this is actual unskinned bobcat heads. I used a combination of some Nair hair removal and also a razor, and I just de-haired these bobcats. So the skin is still there. And this is a little bit more accurate than looking at a skull because now the eye muscles and the ear muscles, they're all still there. Yes, it's still a dead animal skin. It's, not to be a replacement for live reference because some things have changed. It's dead. But these are still really cool as a reference tool to show you, again, roundness of the head, plumpness through here. And I did this as a ears forward and a aggressive ears back reference. You can really see the ear butts. This shows a good reference for ears forward. Just kind of something to look at. And I put glass eyes in there. You have to replace the eyes. But yeah, get you some heads of whatever species, de-hair them, put some glass eyes in, and send them to a freeze-dry company, and they can create this for you, which is pretty cool. And I like to, compare these against the real head, and I think it's pretty close. That's a good reference tool. So now let's talk about eyes, the window to the soul. I think the eyes are the most important part of a bobcat mount. If you use a cheap, inaccurate eye, that's going to change your look entirely. I think the one thing not to skimp out on is a good quality glass eye. It's the difference in $10 on your mount, and it will make all the difference. In these times with supply issues, sometimes it's been hard to find the best quality eyes. I've had to at times use some eyes that I'd rather not to. We do what we can, but right now I'm going to show you 5 of my favorite eyes in order that I would choose if I can get them from the supplier, and then I'll talk about ones that, again, I personally don't like, but you can make your own determination. The best way to do this, I thought, was to hot glue these to a piece of paper. My light here is a ring light, so it's going to show rings in these eyes. I'll take a photo later showing these a little bit better where you can see the pupil. But up first, this is my preferred eye, and this is actually not a glass eye. This is an acrylic eye. and it's what they call reflective eyes. And these are for sale through only Matuska Supply Company. And they just have incredible detail in them, and I will take a close-up later for you to see. But the only problem is they come from Russia. When we get them, we get them. When we're out of stock, you can't get them. So if you see them in stock, buy early and buy often. Otherwise, you just can't get these when you want them. Luckily, I've got enough in stock to fulfill all my 2023 Bobcats, and that's a really good feeling because for a long time we couldn't get these at all. If I wasn't able to get these acrylic eyes, then I would move to my second favorite eye, which is the Tohican IQ large pupil eye. There's two different Tohican IQs. This is the smaller pupil, and this is what they call the expanded pupil. It's not a completely round pupil. Not that a cat can't have a round pupil. You see that in mountain lions, but bobcats tend to have a little bit more of a diamond shape to their eye, and this is, or to the pupil that is, and this is that, all these are that shape. But this is available through McKinsey, but not in the McKinsey catalog. You have to go to the Wasco catalog, which is also the company, and you will find that item number there. In the regular McKinsey catalog, and also a lot of other suppliers carry this eye, which is the Tohican IQ smaller pupil. Both of these look great in the mount. If I was doing an aggressive bobcat, one with open mouth, aggressive with the ears pinned down, I would choose this expanded pupil. It just gives it that wild look. Looks ticked off. The pupil tends to expand when they're upset. This would look good in either mount, and I use the expanded pupil also in relaxed mounts. I tend to find a younger bobcat has a more kitten-like look. Babies seem to have bigger eyes, and the large pupil looks great for like a kitten-like expression. Moving down here, this is a payer eye right here, and this is actually not their bobcat eye. This is a lynx eye per their catalog. I actually just didn't really care for the look of their bobcat eyes, so I ordered the lynx, and I really liked them for certain cats. I will say these have a much more brown color to them, and I think they look great in those southwestern cats that have a lot of brown in them. Any cat that has really reddish brown tones, it just seems to look great with those cats. I wouldn't necessarily use it with a cat that was real light colored with a lot of cool colors to its fur. It's just, I don't think it looks as good, but this is a great backup eye for those more reddish cats. And I use it in all my actual lynx mounts too, but this is the payer lynx eye. And then moving down here, this is, and what I would say is my favorite economy eye, which it basically is the Tohican IQ small pupil, but in a non-white banded phase. See, it has no white band. If I can get these white bands, I prefer this. You don't show a lot of white band on a relaxed cat, but I'll show just a little bit at the back. And I like working with these large bases on this eye. So similar, but they don't have the white band. But these are available from McKinsey. And if I couldn't get anything else, I would choose those right there because it's still a very detailed, very high quality eye. It just doesn't have that white base. Now, eyes I would not choose. And again, this is all my opinion, so don't anybody get upset here. But if you open the McKinsey catalog to all these Hendrix forms, this is the one that is recommended. And I just think this looks terrible. In every bobcat mount I've seen that has these eyes, it does not look realistic in person. This glass eye, I don't have one on example, but to me it just, it's way too big on the pupil. It has a sort of almost a digitally printed look to it. Just not a very high quality eye and is not gonna give me the look that I'm looking for. So I hate that they recommend that for these forms. It's the recommended eye because a lot of people will just order that blindly, assuming that's the best eye. And I really don't think so, but I'm just knocking this around with you, and I'm going to jump over here to the other bobcat eyes in the Tohican section of McKinsey. And here you see there's that small pupil Tohican IQ, so that's a good eye. Not crazy about this one. It's very dark and it has a perfectly round pupil. To me, it looks like a coyote eye. And either one of these, I mean, they're going to be your basic economy eye. If you cannot afford an extra $10, then you can use these eyes, but they're not that great. I've used them before, and they don't pop like the other ones. So I hope this helps somebody out. I do want to grab these heads real quick and show them to you one more time, because this also is a great look at the Tohican IQ expanded pupil versus the small pupil. You see, I used two different ones there. Here is a kind of a Bobcat kitten mount that I used, and I put the Tohican IQ expanded pupils in that. And this mount was just freshly mounted the other day, so it's not dry yet, but I will give a shot of what those reflective eyes look like when they're in the light. Here is a better shot of these eyes. And you can see that green pupil glowing through that reflective eye right there. Pretty cool, huh? They're actually hollow, and they have an effect where when a light is shown on them or through a flash of a camera, they will glow green. All nice eyes, but I think you can see what I'm saying about the extreme detail here on these three. Very nice. Well, I hope this helped somebody out. You know, like I said, this is just the canvas from which to work. Properly sizing your head is really important. Obviously, you don't want to pick a head that's too big and have your skin tight as a tick. You're not going to be able to adjust your details, but you also don't want to undersize your head, because that just gives a real sunken in look and the hair patterns will not stand out. If you need to add a little bit of clay to the side of the jaws to help that mane stand out on the bobcat's neck, I do that sometimes. Don't be afraid to cover this entire head with clay. Use your reference to build the expression for that cat. But I hope this helps somebody select the proper head for the look they're going for. If you have any other suggestions, or a head you would like to suggest, or an eye you would like to suggest, just leave that in the comments. Let me know how you like this video. I believe we'll feature some more videos, discussion like this, talking about different products in our industry. If you will, subscribe to my YouTube channel at Amy's Taxidermy, and follow me on Facebook at Amy's Animal Art. I really appreciate the support, and I hope everybody has a great day.